Microsoft has announced the expansion of the Microsoft Ventures Partnership Program, and this expanding into Africa. Microsoft Ventures was introduced in June as a coordinated global effort that offers tools, resources, expertise, and routes to market for startups. And through this partnership, it works with accelerators around the world. For more on this, I'm joined by Amrote Abdella, Director of Venture Capital and Startups Africa Initiatives at Microsoft. Amrote, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, how does one get to be a startup that Microsoft Ventures is likely to work with?
Nosipo, we actually are open to looking at startups that are working on Windows platform, but also really looking at an array of startups that are active, looking for funding, looking for scaling. And so our requirement is really quite open. Where we have been selective is actually in identifying our accelerator partner. We've just announced today the partnership with 88MPH here in Nairobi as our first partner as Microsoft Ventures is expanding in Africa.
Of course, one of the biggest obstacles for many startups is this tricky question of funding and access to funding. How much money are you putting behind this program?
So our first focus, Nosipo, is actually making sure that this time around we are focusing on providing them the structure for getting the support, the technical support, the design expertise, and the mentorship so that these startups can actually go from conception to creation with their startups. The next phase that we're actively looking at is actually in securing funding and actively working with local VCs, but also global VCs that are looking at investing in Africa.
So is there a fund that has been earmarked by Microsoft that is going to be the backbone or the financial backbone for this particular program, or is it going to be dependent on the investors that you are able to get on board as the program rolls itself out?
So it will actually be both. One is actually working with the local VCs and garnering a stronger local support, because long-term sustainability of these startups is making sure that they're integrated in the local economies and the local businesses. But the second one is for us to look actively at the top graduating startups that are coming out of the program and providing them with seed funding so that they can go on to securing the second and third round investment as they look at growing and scaling and going from being local to regional and ideally global.
Which sectors are you prioritizing, Amrote, in terms of where these startups are operational?
So actually, in terms of sector, as long as it's a technology-enabled solution that looks at an array of sectors. For Africa, we have seen that health, education, agriculture are top priorities in terms of driving Africa's competitiveness, but even ICT-focused tech startups, as long as they have a unique solution that is willing to and ready to address global solutions, we are ready to work with them.
And in which countries, from a rollout perspective, are on the top of your priority list?
Well, we started off with Kenya, but naturally there's some big markets in West Africa, the likes of Nigeria, Ghana are of interest. And for now, we are starting to explore on how best we can actually position ourselves as a partner in terms of the local ecosystem within startups in those countries.
Amrita, are you able to quantify the entrepreneurial impact that this venture is seeking to have on the African continent?
So actually, in terms of the For Africa initiative itself, Nazupo, we are looking at actually engaging about 1 million SMEs and bringing them online under the For Africa initiative, while in the meantime providing training to about 100,000 Africans. And this is really the commitment that Microsoft has made under the For Africa banner. So with that, really the scale of it is actually quite big, and our first engagement is looking at the startups as key innovators in driving the competitiveness of these countries.
Amrote, thank you so much. And I do understand that on the 5th of December, you're going to have the most successful startups presenting to investors and hopefully proceeding to the next round for investment opportunities.